Hi, and welcome back to Stitching with Cindy Botts. Today we're going to talk about making a quick, simple, easy grocery sack. Now, you can make grocery sacks or grocery bags. Now, this is a grocery sack, and you just stop the process for making your grocery bag before you put the corners, the bottoms in. All right, so I will tell you when during this tutorial where it is just at the stack stage. So if all you want is a sack for your groceries, you can do that. You could even make it a grocery bag without handles by taking the sack one step farther into the bag production and making just the sides. So let's look at one of the grocery bags that is made from the grocery sack. So here is my grocery bag, all ready to be stuck in my coat pocket or somewhere, because I don't know about you, but when I come back from grocery shopping, I always find the next time I go grocery shopping is that my bags are not in the car, my bags are not with me, they're sitting at home. So I wanted to make a bag that I could fold up. I know there's some different ones on the market that you can make that have pockets and you can stick them in the pockets and stuff, but I really wanted to keep this as simple as possible, so I just put a Velcro strap around it so that when I fold it back up, I just Velcro that strap and it's good to go. All right. I did not put interfacing in the bag. If you wish to put interfacing in your bag, then you go right ahead and do that. Again, I wanted this to be really foldable and quick, easy project, okay? So this is the bag version of the grocery sack. It has the handles, it has that strap for closure, and it has the bottom blocked in. All right, so let's see if we can kind of get that set up a little bit. It's kind of flimsy again because it does not have interfacing in. So there we go, there's our bag. All right, again, because it does not have the interfacing in, it is a little bit on the flimsy side, but if I stick my hand in there, you can see it does have a nice corner and bottom blocked out, so it does the job for sure. Now, because it doesn't have any interfacing in it, not only is it not as stiff and is easier to fold up, but it's not maybe as strong as some of your regular tote bags. I, again, wanted to keep the price low on this quick project. I wanted to make it simple, fast. It doesn't have any pockets in it. It is simply for toting groceries in. And I would just say I would consider this like a paper bag. I know that plenty of times the grocery store has loaded my paper bag too much and it's ripped. All right, so just be mindful of the strength and durability. I would say it would be like a paper bag, but the nice thing is about it, when you go to carry your things, this is not going to rip like a paper bag because you have the straps, and that makes it so much easier to carry, to hold on to, all those wonderful things. And I don't know about in your area, but in ours, a lot of the stores are going back to the policy of paying for your bag or not having bags period unless you buy the reusable ones. So thought it was a good time to make a few more of these bags. Again, I wanted it to be something that I can stick in my coat pocket and get it back into the car, because, or stick it in my purse so that it gets back in the car, because so many times I get there and I don't have it. So for this project, very simple, very easy tote bag or grocery sack bag. I started with, let's see here, I started with a strip of fabric that I cut. I laid it out with the how do I want to say that? With the salvage edge. I couldn't think of the word for a minute. With the salvage edges together, I cut it with the salvage edges together. I cut off a 4-inch strip from the salvage sides after folding it. So I have it folded in half, and at the salvage side, I cut 2 strips off at 4 inches. All right, it's kind of funky working with stripes on the camera. I can see that's going to be interesting. All right, so there is my piece of fabric that I cut at, let's see those dimensions again, at 32 by 36. The length of it is the 32, so that's running from top to bottom, and then from salvage to salvage edge I cut 36. Now if you have 52-inch wide fabric or 108 that you're using or something, those are the dimensions. The strap was 4 inches long, and I just cut that the same length as the other for ease of work. So with right sides together, I took this long, oh wow, that really does look funky on camera. This long 32-inch long piece, and folded it over so that I am working with an 18-inch piece wide, and ran the seam down the 32-inch side. Okay, so I just ran a nice, oh, here comes Turtle. That's going to make it interesting too. Keep going, baby. I did a little wider seam than the 1/4 inch. Want to make it nice and stable, and just made this long tube. Okay, then once you have your long tube made, I pulled the 2 right sides together. So just pull this right side up to the other right side. All right, so then you have something that looks like this. All right, so you have it pulled like this. Okay, so you just have this big, okay, come on, Turtle, you're in the way, baby. You have this other rectangle. Okay, now what you're going to do is on the side that has the raw edges, you are going to go ahead and with right sides together, you are going to sew this seam here. All right, so with right sides together, you're going to sew that seam, and you're going to leave an opening. Okay, you're going to leave an opening for turning. Okay, and then you're going to turn it so you have a tube that looks like this. All right, so there's your tube. All right, there's a fold at this end, and there is the sewn raw edge seam up here tucked inside, so there's no raw edges showing. Okay, so you have this littler square, littler rectangle. So then what you do is where you've pulled that through, you're just going to sew that back together, tucking that seam in. Wow, this stripe really makes it hard to see what we're doing here. You just fold those together and sew that seam shut. All right, so that will become one of the side seams. All right, now I like to do that being on the outside of my bag. So where did I set the other to show one? Okay, I think this one might be easier to read on camera. All right, so here you see that's the seam I did before, and I closed it up. All right, where is the closed up part? I guess, oh, here it is. All right, so here's the closed up part. Just pinch those together. All right, then you're going to want to let me get this turned the way I need it. Hang on just a second here. Sorry about that. Those brown stripes just were not reading as well as I wanted. Okay, so here I have the inside of the bag facing out. All right, and that gives me my seam hole. There it is. Yay! There's the seam hole that needs to be folded, tucked in, and just seamed closed. And I have it at waist down from the top of the bag. All right, then you want to top stitch this top not closed, but together to give it some stability and give you an edge at the top. Then you want to spin it around, and you are going to do a seam the whole way. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Turtle likes to be on camera. She's a movie star. All right, so then here you have the bottom of your bag, and you're going to make your bottom seam. So you want to sew that. Again, I would do it more than a 1/4 inch. In fact, I usually go back and do a second row of stitching, doing a little back stitching here and there to stabilize it, just to make sure the bottom is good and strong. Okay, so this would be the point where you have your sack. If you just want a sack, this is the point where you could stop. Now, if you want a sack that has the bottom, continue on to this next part. So what you do is you just fold over your corners. Now, on other bags, I've had a seam to line that up with. This time I don't. So you just want to make sure that you have the same amount of fabric on this side of the seam as on this side of that seam. All right, and you want it to be nice and straight. Make sure there's no crinkles underneath it, and then you can draw a line where you want to sew it. If you want your sides to be 4 inches, you do 2 on each side of the seam. If you want your sides to be 6 inches, it's 3 on each side. Okay, it's up to you when you make a bag. That's how you determine that. I usually just go by my plate here, and that's how I measure mine. I usually don't draw the line, but that's up to you. So you do that on this side and the other side, and that gives you the bottom squareness of your bag. So what that gives you is this piece right here on your bag. And when you turn it right side out, that is what you get. You get the side and the bottom of your bag. You get that nice corner. Okay, so that's how you do that. And again, if you don't want to add the straps, you can stop at this point. If you want to do the straps, we're going to talk about that next. Now, I like a nice inch wide strap. This is cut at 4 inches, and then you fold it in. You fold it at the halfway first, then you fold it in again at the 1/4, and you fold it over. So 4 inches is folded down to 1 inch, and I sew on this side and I sew on that side. Now, when I put my handles on the bag, I usually have the bag right side out. So let's do a little flip here of this bag so we can see what we're doing. Oh my goodness, Turtle, honey. People don't want to see you, I don't think. There she is. Come on, Turtle. I'm going to have to close the door next time I go to film. She was downstairs and I didn't think I needed to, but I guess I did. So what I do is I lay my bag so that it is nice and flat, and I fold it in half. And then I fold it in half at the top. Come on, Turtle. Turtle, Turtle. And I fold it in half. And then from the center fold, I mark where I'm going to put my handles, okay? And I do that for both sides of the bag so that the handles will be the same measurement from the outside to the handle, from the middle to the handle. All right, then when I go to put the come on, Turtle, thank you, honey. Then when I go to put the strap on, I determine how long I want my strap. I don't like my handles too big. Some people like them to go up over their shoulder. That's up to you. I pin that down and I sew here and I sew here. Then I fold this. Okay, so you have one seam here, and then I fold the strap back over itself and I sew down again, and by doing that third seam, you're encasing it. All right, so let's walk you through that one more time. So here, that's your first stabilizing row. Then you're going to sew just another 1/4 of an inch down, giving it extra strength. Then you fold this back over like so. Let me lay it down, and you stitch here, and that encases your raw edges. Now let's take a look at the finished tote, and you can see where I did that. All right, now I should have brought this down a little bit farther so that when I folded this over, those edges wouldn't show, but in this case it worked out nice because you can see what I'm talking about. Let's see if I did a better job on this one, or if I did the same thing. Oh, there it is. All right, you can see that the raw edge is enclosed, whereas in this one I didn't have it quite down far enough, but you can just trim that back. Okay, then the next thing to do is your Velcro strip. Now I used the same piece of material, the same 4-inch folded over strap down to 1 inch. I folded up one end, put my Velcro on there, and sewed it down. Then I folded up my bag to determine how long I wanted this strap to be. I wrapped it around the fold, and that's how I determined where to cut the length. And again, I did the same on this end, folding it back, sewing down the Velcro. Then to make sure I had the placement right, I folded my bag and laid this on it and clipped it. All right, so how I folded my bag was I ironed the bottom up so that I have a nice little crease for folding, folded my straps in, folded it over a third, folded it over the other third, then up a third and up a third. Okay, so then when I pinned my strap, I pinned it in right here in the middle of the folded area here, just to the one side, and again I just laid down my strap, flipped it over like this, and that strap comes around. And doing it one-handed is difficult, especially with Kitty visiting, and it just Velcros together. So that's how you determine the length. Now, had I not folded that with just one hand, it does come down better. It's a little sloppy fold and pull. It's hard to do. There we go, that's better. Okay, and there is your sack, your bag, whatever you want to call it, ready to go back in the vehicle or in your purse so that you have it with you when you're shopping. Please like and subscribe. I think this fabric showed up much better on the camera than the brown and white striped. Now I'm using up some material that I just happen to have. You know, this is one of those projects where I like to use materials that maybe at one time I was in love with, but yeah, I fell out of love. The honeymoon's over. Or, you know, you look in your fabric pile and you're like, where did I pick that up? Or, oh, that was that clearance fabric that I figured I'd make something out of it. Couldn't pass up the price. So, happy making of your grocery sack bags, and please visit me again. Bye-bye now.